Good evening, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Kevadia in Indian state of Gujarat to unveil multiple infrastructure and development projects. US President Donald Trump says rare earths dispute with settled, where China also announces lowering of US tariff on China. President Xi stresses ties should be on the right course. Australia sets 339 runs target for India in ICC Women's World Cup semi-finals in Navi Mumbai. Phoebe Litchfield shines for Australia, hits maiden World Cup 100. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Gujarat on a two-day visit in a move to further enhance the tourist experience at Ekta Nagar in Kevadia, home to the world's tallest statue, the Statue of Unity. Prime Minister Modi flagged off 25 new e-buses on Thursday. Each bus is equipped with 2 emergency exits, special facilities for the differently abled passengers, 4 dedicated pink seats for women, ensuring safe and inclusive travel. The initiative aims to make tourism more comfortable, accessible and environmentally friendly. Prime Minister Modi will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various infrastructure and development projects in Ekta Nagar. These projects aim to enhance the tourist experience, improve accessibility and support sustainability initiatives in the area. With a total investment of over rupees 1,100 crores, the projects reflect the vision of the government to promote ecotourism, green mobility, smart infrastructure, tribal development in the region surrounding the world's tallest statue. On October 31st, India marks Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's 150th birth anniversary, celebrating the unifier who shaped the destiny of the nation. This year's theme is Unity in Diversity, highlights Sardar Patel's vision of a united India. Our next report reflects on the legacy of the Iron Man of India.
Ever wondered what kind of leader it takes to hold a country together? It demands a leader who brings together millions of voices, diverse regions, and countless dreams into one cohesive vision. That person was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. In 1917, under Gandhi's guidance, Patel took up secretaryship of the Gujarat Sabha and fully embraced the path of sacrifice and service. He mobilized peasant movements, notably the non-cooperation movement in Gujarat in 1920, and abandoned Western luxuries at Gandhi's advice. Following the suspension of the civil disobedience movement and Gandhi's arrest, Patel took charge of activities in Gujarat. His unwavering adherence to Gandhian principles and his skillful fundraising abilities proved critical in sustaining the movement. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's leadership in the successful Bardoli Satyagrah of 1928 earned him the title Sardar, meaning leader from the people he led. The movement's disciplined resistance against a land revenue tax hike showcased his strategic guidance and leadership.
The Kheda Satyagraha and the Bardoli Satyagraha had a lasting impact on mobilizing men and women. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel played a crucial role in mobilizing people, especially women, to contribute their might and come forward in the attainment of Swaraj.
Sardar Patel played an indispensable role in shaping independent India. As the country's first Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister, he held crucial portfolios that included Home Affairs, States, and Information and Broadcasting. One of Patel's greatest achievements was the political integration of more than 560 princely states into the Union of India. Sardar Patel's combination of tact, diplomacy and firmness persuaded nearly all rulers to join India, preventing the nation's disintegration. It was this monumental task that earned him the title Iron Man of India. Beyond unification, Patel is known as the architect of India's civil services. He laid the foundation for the modern All India services, which he called the steel frame of the nation's administration. In the Constituent Assembly, Patel chaired key committees on minorities, tribal affairs, fundamental rights. His legacy is commemorated by the Statue of Unity unveiled by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on October 31st, 2018. It's the world's tallest statue under the sun, standing on the banks of the Narmada River. The statue symbolizes Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's enduring contribution to India's unity and integrity. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal is joining us with more. Dibyendu, give us a broad picture of what all has been planned in Kevadia, in particular as Prime Minister Modi kickstarts a National Unity Day celebrations.
Well, Shubhendu, this time around there has been a grand celebration that has been planned by the government and for which Prime Minister Narendra Modi is already in that place because, tomorrow marks the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Patel, who is known as the architect of what we see India as today and keeping India united. And of course, as far as the celebrations as well as the plans is concerned in terms of how this great man who has united India would be celebrated on his 150th birth anniversary is, of course, elaborate. The government has planned to have a similar Republic Day-like parade in Ekta Nagar, in Kevadia, in Gujarat, wherein, multiple forces, including the BSF, the CISF, the CRPF, and multiple state units of the state police would be taking part in a parade. There'll be about 900 artists that will participate in a cultural program that is going to be held tomorrow. There will also be an air show that will be run by the Air Force Surya Kiran team, paying tributes to the man Sardar Patel, who stands tall at the Statue of Unity. It's of course one of the tallest statue in the world. And of course, there'll be other cultural program, a commemorative stamp and a commemorative coin would be launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, marking his birth anniversary. And apart from that, there'll also be a 15-day celebration called the Bharat Parv that will be kicking off in this particular region because remember, there are thousands of tourists that comes into this Statue of Unity every day to visit. So of course, a lot of facilities for the smooth experiences of the tourist are being launched by Prime Minister Modi. He's also inaugurated a fleet of electric buses in the city for a smooth travel and commute of the visitors that will be going to pay their tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So of course, all in all, Shubhendu, celebrating the man, celebrating right, and giving him the due respect to the man who has been, one of the key architects of keeping India, as we know today, united, even when, a lot of problems with the princely states were happening during 1947, right, given the fact that, and he has been one of the key architects of keeping India united. And, what we know India of today with multiple states is a gift, in fact, from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's efforts during that point in time, Shubhendu.
Right, Dibyendu, and if you could tell us a little more on the manner in which Kevadia Ekta Nagar Statue of Unity, in many ways in the recent year, has evolved as almost a place of pilgrimage for the legacy of Sardar Patel.
Well, Shubhendu, of course, that place, it was inaugurated, I believe, in 2018. And at that one time it was one of the in fact it is still today one of the tallest statue in the world, wherein it is touching the sky. As if you look from below the statue, it looks like it's touching the sky. So of course thousands of tourists comes to this particular place and visits every day. This area has been developed beautifully over the last couple of years. Efforts from both the central as well as the state government has been to develop that area to facilitate smooth movement of tourists, as well as so that they have a great experience when they visit the Statue of Unity. And of course, as I said, a lot of developmental projects have also been inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi, and these will also be able to
Dibyendu, I'll stop you for a moment. Getting some live visuals now of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's in Kevadia, launching a host of development projects. We're now showing visuals of development projects launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Those visuals coming in from Kevadia, Ekta Nagar in Gujarat. Foundation stone laying of various development projects worth over 1,200 crore rupees at Ekta Nagar, Gujarat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi doing the honours. Also those visuals of Statue of Unity, reminder of the rich legacy of Sardar Patel. And the host of development projects being inaugurated at Ekta Nagar in Gujarat.
एकता नगर, संकल्प, समर्पण और समृद्धि का नगर।
Under the aegis of the Cycling Federation of India has stood tall and Unveils in this mega cycling extravaganza.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का एक दूरदर्शी सपना आज हमारे सामने विश्व की सबसे ऊंची प्रतिमा बनकर खड़ा है और अब इस सपने को मिल रही है नई उड़ान।
आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ एक क्षण का आह्वान करें।
आज 30 अक्टूबर 2025 को एकता नगर एवं राजपीपला के रुपए 1220 करोड़ के विकास कार्यों का लोकार्पण एवं शिलान्यास माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कर कमलों द्वारा संपन्न हुआ। पिछले दशक में हमने संकल्प को सिद्धि तक पहुंचाया है। सुशासन से विकास और विकास से विश्वास को बढ़ाया है। हमने रोशनी के त्योहार को धूमधाम से मनाया है। एकता नगर के साथ साथ गुजरात की झांकियों को जन जन तक पहुंचाया है। हमने एकता की भावना से एकता नगर को सजाया है। एकता नगर, संकल्प, समर्पण और समृद्धि का नगर।
Under the aegis of the Cycling Federation of India has stood tall and Unveils in this mega cycling extravaganza.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का एक दूरदर्शी सपना आज हमारे सामने विश्व की सबसे ऊंची प्रतिमा बनकर खड़ा है और अब इस सपने को मिल रही है नई उड़ान।
आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ एक क्षण का
आज 30 अक्टूबर 2025 को एकता नगर एवं राजपीपला के रुपए 1220 करोड़ के विकास कार्यों का लोकार्पण एवं शिलान्यास माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कर कमलों द्वारा संपन्न हुआ। पिछले दशक में हमने संकल्प को सिद्धि तक पहुंचाया है। सुशासन से विकास और विकास से विश्वास को बढ़ाया है। हमने रोशनी के त्योहार को धूमधाम से मनाया है। एकता नगर के साथ साथ गुजरात की झांकियों को जन जन तक पहुंचाया है। हमने एकता की भावना से एकता नगर को सजाया है। एकता नगर, संकल्प, समर्पण और समृद्धि का नगर।
Under the aegis of the Cycling Federation of India has stood tall and Unveils in this mega cycling extravaganza.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का एक दूरदर्शी सपना आज हमारे सामने विश्व की सबसे ऊंची प्रतिमा बनकर खड़ा है और अब इस सपने को मिल रही है नई उड़ान।
आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ एक क्षण का आह्वान करें।
आज 30 अक्टूबर 2025 को एकता नगर एवं राजपीपला के रुपए 1220 करोड़ के विकास कार्यों का लोकार्पण एवं शिलान्यास माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कर कमलों द्वारा संपन्न हुआ। पिछले दशक में हमने संकल्प को सिद्धि तक पहुंचाया है। सुशासन से विकास और विकास से विश्वास को बढ़ाया है। हमने रोशनी के त्योहार को धूमधाम से मनाया है। एकता नगर के साथ साथ गुजरात की झांकियों को जन जन तक पहुंचाया है। हमने एकता की भावना से एकता नगर को सजाया है। एकता नगर, संकल्प, समर्पण और समृद्धि का नगर।
Under the aegis of the Cycling Federation of India has stood tall and Unveils in this mega cycling extravaganza.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का एक दूरदर्शी सपना आज हमारे सामने विश्व की सबसे ऊंची प्रतिमा बनकर खड़ा है और अब इस सपने को मिल रही है नई उड़ान।
आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ एक क्षण का आह्वान करें।
आज 30 अक्टूबर 2025 को एकता नगर एवं राजपीपला के रुपए 1220 करोड़ के विकास कार्यों का लोकार्पण एवं शिलान्यास माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कर कमलों द्वारा संपन्न हुआ। पिछले दशक में हमने संकल्प को सिद्धि तक पहुंचाया है। सुशासन से विकास और विकास से विश्वास को बढ़ाया है। हमने रोशनी के त्योहार को धूमधाम से मनाया है। एकता नगर के साथ साथ गुजरात की झांकियों को जन जन तक पहुंचाया है। हमने एकता की भावना से एकता नगर को सजाया है। एकता नगर, संकल्प, समर्पण और समृद्धि का नगर।
Under the aegis of the Cycling Federation of India has stood tall and Unveils in this mega cycling extravaganza.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का एक दूरदर्शी सपना आज हमारे सामने विश्व की सबसे ऊंची प्रतिमा बनकर खड़ा है और अब इस सपने को मिल रही है नई उड़ान।
आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ एक क्षण का आह्वान करें।
आज 30 अक्टूबर 2025 को एकता नगर एवं राजपीपला के रुपए 1220 करोड़ के विकास कार्यों का लोकार्पण एवं शिलान्यास माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कर कमलों द्वारा संपन्न हुआ।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi launching a host of projects. Projects worth over 1,200 crore rupees have been launched in Ekta Nagar, Gujarat. These projects span a wide spectrum of infrastructure and ecosystem projects to boost tourism in the region. Rashtriya Ekta Divas on the eve of National Unity Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launching a host of infrastructure and development projects in Ekta Nagar. He also launched a special commemorative postage stamp and also launched a commemorative coin on the eve of the occasion of 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Those visuals came in a short while ago from Ekta Nagar, Kevadia in Gujarat, which is home to the Statue of Unity, the statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the tallest in the world. Prime Minister also engaging with the locals there, all in preparations for the celebrations of the big day, National Unity Day, celebrated on 31st of October. The occasion is the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This year, the occasion is special as it marks the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Patel. Infrastructure projects worth over 1,200 crore rupees have been launched. Now, these projects include a wide spectrum of infrastructure projects. There's a tribal university in Rajpipla, e-bus ecosystem that Prime Minister launched earlier in the evening. Also museums, gardens and different aspects through which tourism in the region could get a major boost. To talk about the legacy of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, joining me now is a special guest. Let me welcome Professor Himanshu Kumar Chaturvedi, Director, Indian Institute of Advanced Study, Shimla. You're also member, Indian Council of Historical Research. Welcome, Professor Chaturvedi, joining us from Shimla on the eve of National Unity Day. How do you reflect on the unparalleled legacy of Sardar Patel?
I mean, it is something that is very difficult to express in terms of words. Because being the student of history, I don't find any, I'm not comparing him to anyone, but I don't find anyone taller than him. The way he faced the issues, the way he resolved the issues, and the way he gave a solution, a permanent solution to the issues. Those are the things that makes him so taller, and the right title, the Sardar. Today we are celebrating tomorrow we will be celebrating the 105th anniversary. And considering the amount of challenges and the problems that he had on his sleeves, it's simply unimaginable how he brought a bloodless revolution to bind this nation, which everybody in the West thought, most of the people in the West thought, that it is going to be a new Balkan region in the Asia, but it was due to Sardar Patel's imagination, it was due to Sardar Patel's steely nerve, and it was of his statesmanship that whatever was left in 1947 wasn't allowed to be balkanized. The full credit goes to him, and it was only due to his the policies that I take him as 10 times taller than even Bismarck, who unified Germany, which was a pretty small nation or a country, and with lot of blood was wasted in the unification of Germany. But what Sardar Patel did is not less than a miracle in history, how I find him.
Right. And Professor Chaturvedi, while Sardar Patel is remembered as an architect of modern India, unifying, as you mentioned, over 500 princely states, what would you say about his ability to recognize the very essential unifying forces that brought the idea of India together?
So, such a wonderful question. The integration is one thing that most of the people stick to. But integrating them, then unifying them, and sewing them into a democratic feudal structure were the two very essential parts that have to be done after the integration of the native states. So, whenever I look at Sardar Patel, I look at the three aspects. First is the integration. That is no doubt is a huge legacy for which Sardar Patel is known. But I go deeper when I look deeper and into his contributions. It is simply amazing that integrating the native states is one thing, then unifying the native states into the fabric of the Union of India, and finally providing a structure, what you call the feudal structure, loaded with democracy. And the way he said in very gentler words in as far as I remember, in 1949 or 48, that our constitution is not an alliance between the aristocracy and the nation state. Our constitution is an alliance between the people of India and their aspirations. So in native states, integrating them, unifying them, and then creating a feudal structure with full of democratic ideals. This is perhaps one of the biggest, legacy of Sardar Patel that we are celebrating in this hour.
Right. And on the eve of National Unity Day, how did Sardar Patel's ideas and actions about unity in diversity distinguish him from others? I'm also asking this question in the context that he's also Gandhian, a follower of Mahatma Gandhi, but he makes use of force where it's required for the cause of the nation.
Whereas I look at the other way. I feel that he did not look at India or Bharat as unity in diversity. He has some kind of a perfect notion or a perfect picture that this is a nation with a history of more than 7,000 years, and this is a history which we say that which we can bracket as shared feudalism or the shared culture. So while building up this nation, he never touched on the cultural aspects of any region. That was very important to him. So contextualizing the region, contextualizing the diversity, he saw Bharat not as unity in diversity, but a diversity in unity. That was a kind of a perception that I analyze about him. So, considering these things and the geopolitical issues in the process of building up the nation, there were other considerations also, like the feudal structure needed some solid kind of a political system or the administrative system on which he was very clear. And the way he created the feudal democracy, if you go through his speeches in the Constituent Assembly, if you go through his speeches on how he looked at democracy, on how he looked at the integration, he didn't have any kind of a malign intention towards any native state which came in and into the Indian Union. Apart from Hyderabad, the story is as big as the story as Kashmir, let me tell you very frankly. What he called Hyderabad a cancer in the belly of India. So the way he handled Hyderabad, so it was solved, but Kashmir was not handled. It was transferred from the Ministry of State at a very alarming hour. So these are the details
Right.
of the history that I don't want to get into it. But he had in mind the diversity of the unity. I mean, all the people are the same. They came from the same roots, and we are the branches scattered all over India. So the way he created that democratic ideal of feudalism without touching on the the identity of any culture, that is the most brilliant thing to happen. What the legacy of Sardar Patel is all about to me.
Right. Professor Chaturvedi, you mentioned about the example of the Hyderabad's unification, the most popular one that people are aware of. As a student and teacher of history, could you also give us some anecdotes which may not be so well known about the legacy of Sardar Patel that you could share with us, that sort of sets an example of the kind of ideas and action that he brought forward?
Right. There's a plethora of literature scattered here and there. But until and unless you have got a clear-cut idea that how in the 19th century, the colonizers went on making the political compartments or the linguistic compartments or the cultural compartments of this great nation. And precisely the answer to your question is, by the beginning of the 20th century, one thing was, very famously told about India, that the day the Britishers will leave, this nation will be in so many pieces that it will be hard to count upon. And this is and India was taken as the latest example in the course of history in those times, as the latest example of balkanization. And that balkanization was preached, was developed, and not only being told by the Western, ideologues, or even people like Winston Churchill, or if you go for the foreign policy documents of the United States of America in the early days till 1965, they all had a very clear notion that this is going to be a Balkan region, like the way the Ottoman Empire was scattered. Same thing will happen to India. But he proved them all wrong until and unless we go into that balkanization theory and how it was woven up and how it was invented and how it was supported by the colonialist rulers and the ideologues in the West or in the Occidental, ideas and theories. Then only when one can only understand that what is the contribution of Sardar Patel at large.
Right.
Because there's a word, what you call paramountcy. It will end the day British will leave. And the paramountcy, to the best of my knowledge, has never been defined what is paramountcy in legal terms. So he had, that was something kind of more than a titanic kind of a, thing that he had to face. And what he did in, last 4 years, it is unimaginable to me and is unparalleled to me in the history of the world, whatever knowledge I have gained, whatever I have studied.
And come 2025, we are observing 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Patel. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Gujarat, in Ekta Nagar. We were showing visuals of a host of development projects that he launched in the area for Ekta Nagar. But of course, as far as legacy of Sardar Patel goes, there are programs that sort of cover the length and breadth of the country. Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat is one such initiative by the government. How do you see, if you see in its entirety, how do you see these as a fitting tribute to legacy of Sardar Patel?
I believe that history is the soul of the nation. And that soul, is very important to us. So I'm talking about history. The way Sardar Patel had been treated in the history books, the way he has been sidelined, the nation must know what Sardar Patel is all about. What I said earlier, that I don't see a bigger persona than Sardar Patel in the course of history, at least before 20th century and after 20th century. And what the generation of this nation needs to know is who is the Iron Man who can be termed as a builder of this nation in post-colonial era. I never use the word post-independent. I always use the word post-colonial times, post-1947. And the way the Statue of Unity has been brought up, the way today the Ekta Nagar in Kevadia has seen the celebrations, it was not just due, it was overdue. And as frank historian, I must say that the coming generation or the present generation at least will now come closer to the legacy of Sardar Patel, that what he has done for this motherland. And from the bottom of my heart, I must say that I'm very thankful to Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for embarking on the journey that was overdue for a leader like Sardar Patel. And in the annals of the history and in the pages of the history books, now one can see Sardar Patel closer to his hearts, what he has done for this nation. So this is simply a much awaited thing that is happening today, to the best of my conscience.
On that note, Professor Himanshu Kumar Chaturvedi, thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour, sharing your perspective. Moving on, Union Home Minister Amit Shah announced grand celebrations for Sardar Patel's 150th birth anniversary, hailing the Iron Man of India's role in unifying the nation. Speaking at a rally in Bihar, Amit Shah revealed a Republic Day-style parade at Ekta Nagar, Kevadia colony on October 31st, tomorrow. On the occasion of National Unity Day, he urged nationwide participation.
श्रद्धेय सरदार पटेल की 150वीं जयंती के उपलक्ष्य में एकता नगर केवड़िया कॉलोनी में जो भव्य परेड का आयोजन हो रहा है, सरदार पटेल साहब का आज़ादी के बाद देश को एक करने में, आज के भारत के निर्माण में और एक भारत बनाने में कितना बड़ा योगदान है। इस बार रन फॉर यूनिटी को भी बड़े स्तर पर आयोजित करने का निर्णय लिया गया है। देश के सभी राज्य, केंद्र शासित प्रदेश, जिला, पुलिस स्टेशन, सभी स्कूल्स और यूनिवर्सिटी में रन फॉर यूनिटी का आयोजन हुआ है।
Let's turn to some other news now. High-stakes meeting between US President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping concluded in Busan with a decision on tariffs and rare earth exports. The bilateral meeting, which was held for about an hour and 40 minutes, longer than scheduled, was their first face-to-face meeting since 2019. Speaking to reporters on board Air Force One after the meeting, Trump said he had struck a deal to reduce tariffs on China in exchange for Beijing's resuming US soybean purchases, keeping rare earths exports flowing, and cracking down on the illicit trade of fentanyl. Earlier, as they sat down with their delegations at talks, President Xi told the US counterpart via a translator it was normal for two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
Many times that China and the United States should be partners and friends. This is what history has taught us and what reality demands. A few days ago, in the latest round of consultation, our two economic and trade teams reached basic consensus on addressing our respective major concerns and made encouraging progress. This provided the necessary conditions for our meeting today. Mr. President, I am ready to continue working with you to build a solid foundation for China-US relations and create a sound atmosphere for the development of both countries.
The trade war reignited this month after Beijing proposed dramatically expanding curbs on exports of rare earth minerals vital for high-tech applications, a sector that China dominates. Trump vowed to retaliate with additional 100% tariffs on Chinese exports and with other steps, including potential curbs on exports to China made with US software, a move that could upend the global economy. But while meeting Xi, Trump said he'll have fantastic relationship for a long time.
It's a great honor to be with a friend of mine, really for a long time now, if you think about it. The very, very distinguished and respected president of China. And we will be having some discussions. I think we've already agreed to a lot of things, and we'll agree to some more right now. But President Xi is a great leader of a great country, and I think we're going to have a fantastic relationship for a long period of time. And it's an honor to have you with us. Thank you very much.
In the deliberations, President Xi said US and China should be partners and friends.
President Trump, it is a great pleasure for me as well to meet you. And it feels very warm seeing you again because it's been many years. Since your re-election, we have spoken on the phone 3 times, exchanged several letters, and stayed in close contact. And our joint guidance, China-US relations have remained stable on the whole. Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other. And it is normal for the 2 leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then. And in the face of winds, waves, and challenges, you and I, at the helm of China-US relations, should stay the right course and ensure the steady sailing forward of the giant ship of China-US relations. I always believe that China's development goes hand in hand with your vision to make America great again.
And on conflicts around the world, Chinese President Xi said China and US must jointly shoulder responsibility as great powers.
Mr. President, you care a lot about world peace, and you're very enthusiastic about settling various regional hotspot issues. I appreciate your great contribution to the recent conclusion of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. During your visit to Malaysia, you witnessed the signing of the Joint Declaration on Peace along the Cambodia-Thailand border, to which you had provided input. China has been helping in our own way Cambodia and Thailand properly settle their border disputes, and we have also been promoting peace talks to resolve other hotspot issues. The world today is confronted with many tough problems. China and US can jointly shoulder our responsibility as major countries and work together to accomplish more great and concrete things for the good of our 2 countries and the whole world.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has hailed consensus with US President Donald Trump on trade. She urged a swift follow-up to ease global economic fears after his meeting with US President Trump in the Thursday summit. President Xi also told state media that China seeks no rivalry, likening its economy to an ocean resilient to risks. He also stressed on the stable US-China ties and dialogue over confrontation. Chinese president advocated trade as a propeller for long-term cooperation, while warning against vicious cycle of revenge, calling for positive interactions on the world stage. Both Trump and Xi have pledged ongoing communications to implement agreements and deliver results. China's Commerce Ministry announced on Thursday a 1-year suspension of the October 9th export controls on rare earth technologies, easing tensions with US amid global supply chain strains. The freeze, effective immediately, halts requirements for licenses on mining, smelting, production line technologies critical for magnets in autos, electronics and defense. The move follows high-level talks between Trump and Xi, while trade teams convened in Malaysia this week, yielding consensus on de-escalation. As the world's top rare earth producer, Beijing's prior curbs had slowed US approvals, fueling negotiations. Officials will refine plans during the pause, with Washington praising the step towards stable flows. This aligns with President Xi's pledge for uninterrupted supplies, potentially paving way for Donald Trump's April China visit next year. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Hurricane Melissa moves towards Bermuda after ripping a path of destruction through the Caribbean. In Ukraine, at least 23 people injured following a Russian strike in Zaporizhzhia. The Dutch election ends in an unprecedented cliffhanger. We tell you more. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson in India. Randeep Jaiswal, while addressing the media, said some Indian companies have now received licenses to import rare earth elements from China.
We confirm that some Indian companies have received licenses for importing rare earth magnets from China.
And he also confirmed the United States has granted India a 6-month sanctions exemption for operations at the Chabahar port in Iran, a key project along the Gulf of Oman.
Confirm that we have been granted exemption for a 6-month period on the sanctions that were applicable, American sanctions that were applicable on Chabahar.
On India's cooperation with Afghanistan, Jaiswal reiterated New Delhi's readiness to support sustainable water management projects, including hydroelectric dams on Kunar River.
India stands ready to support all efforts of Afghanistan that are directed towards sustainable management of water resources, including hydroelectric projects. You also would know that between the two countries there has been a long history of cooperation on water matters. The Salma Dam, for example, is a perfect example of this cooperation, which is today called India-Afghanistan Friendship Dam.
On trade, the spokesperson said India and the United States remain in active discussions to finalize a trade package, with talks continuing at various levels.
We continue to remain engaged with the US side to conclude a trade deal, and these discussions are continuing. On the specific questions of, of tariff, etc., I would refer you to Ministry of Commerce.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held talks with Cyprus Foreign Minister Dr. Konstantinos Kombos, strengthening bilateral ties between India and Cyprus. In his opening remarks, Minister Jaishankar said India and Cyprus are trusted friends and reliable partners. He appreciated Cyprus's consistent support on issues of core interest to India, especially in the battle against cross-border terrorism.
India and Cyprus are trusted friends and reliable partners. Trust and time-tested are not easy adjectives to use nowadays, but certainly I think, do that with a great deal of confidence and assurance for this relationship. Our ties have developed into a comprehensive partnership anchored in mutual respect, shared democratic values, and a joint strategic vision. It is forward-looking and it is aligned with the interests and aspirations of both our countries. We also cooperate closely in regional and multilateral fora, including the United Nations, the European Union, and the Commonwealth frameworks.
Cyprus Foreign Affairs Minister Konstantinos Kombos is on a 3-day visit to India. On Thursday, Kombos delivered 55th Sapro House lecture in New Delhi. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said, being a European Union member state, Cyprus strongly supports the completion of EU-India free trade agreement.
Cyprus strongly supports the conclusion of the long-negotiated FTA between EU and India, and the successful conclusion of this agreement will not only strengthen EU-India ties, but it will also unlock immense economic opportunities for Cyprus, for India, and for all the European countries.
Hurricane Melissa smashed through the northern Caribbean and was seen picking up speed as it churned across the open ocean towards Bermuda on Thursday, leaving a trail of high winds and destruction from Jamaica to Cuba and Haiti in its wake. People across the Bahamas and nearby Turks and Caicos hunkered down as passing storm pummeled them with dangerous gusts and rain. Around 970 kilometers northeast of the storm's last position, Bermudans prepared for its approach, expected by the evening. Authorities across the region struggling to keep track of the devastation confirmed 25 deaths in Haiti, 10 of them children, 4 in Jamaica. In Ukraine, rescuers have recovered 2 bodies from the rubble of a 5-story dormitory destroyed in a Russian strike on Zaporizhia on Thursday. Officials say at least 23 people were injured, among them 6 children, as emergency teams continue to search the site. President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed that Russia launched a barrage of more than 650 drones and 50 missiles overnight. While most were intercepted, he said some did hit their targets. Ukraine's Prime Minister Yulia Svyatchenko condemned the latest strikes, accusing Moscow of trying to spark a humanitarian catastrophe as freezing temperatures approach. The Dutch election ended in an unprecedented cliffhanger on Thursday, with only a few thousand votes separating the far-right party of firebrand Geert Wilders and pro-European centrist party. With over 99% of the vote tallied, the PVV Freedom Party, run by Wilders, was factionally ahead of the D66, led by energetic Rob Jetten. Every major party has ruled out working with Wilders, meaning Jetten is on track to become the country's youngest prime minister, even if he comes second. The D66 party of Rob Jetten and PVV Freedom Party of Wilders were both on 26 seats, with nearly 95% of votes counted, according to the second provisional estimate by the local ANP news agency. The gap was so close that overseas postal votes might decide the election, so a final result could yet take days. When the final result is eventually confirmed, a long process of trying to forge a coalition will begin, with 76 parliamentary seats required for a majority. India hosted the first ever Quad Ports of the Future conference, bringing together 120 delegates from 24 Indo-Pacific partner nations. The event served as a key platform to advance cooperation on resilient and secure port infrastructure across the region. The conference featured thematic discussions on enhancing collaboration in areas such as infrastructure, financing, regulatory frameworks, workforce training, digital ecosystems, technology, cybersecurity, sustainability, reflecting on the Quad's shared vision for future-ready maritime connectivity. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for all the action from sports. In a unique change, India versus South Africa test at the Baraspara Stadium in Guwahati is set to have the tea break before the lunch break. Due to early sunrise and sunset in the state of Assam, situated in the eastern part of India, the tea break will be taken before lunch. The first session will begin at 9 a.m. IST and at 11:20 a.m. IST, following which the tea break will be taken. The second session will run from 11:20 IST to 1:20 p.m. IST, after which players will break for lunch. Usually, test matches in India begin at 9:30 a.m. IST, with lunch being taken at 11:30 a.m., the tea being taken later at 2:10 p.m. The match, starting from November 22nd, will be the first ever test to be held in Guwahati. With less than 100 days to go until opening ceremonies of the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics, the organizers released a promotional video to celebrate crossing into the final stretch before the start of the Games. 2026 Games will be co-hosted by Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo and run from February 6th to 22nd next year. The Olympic events will be held over a large part of northern Italy, with a number of other locations hosting sports as well as co-hosts Milan and Cortina. It is the first time that the Games have been held in Western Europe since Italy staged them in Turin in 2006. That's all in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan this QR code on your screen and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.